honestly, I'm just like notorious for starting a vlog and then not finishing, but I'm just sitting here watching YouTube and feeling like there's nothing to watch. Like, you know, when you really just want to vibe and watch YouTube and nothing is like scratching the itch, that's exactly how I feel. So I was like, why not be the vibe that I'm searching for, you know? And I had a couple things in mind that I wanted to talk about. Let me turn this down. I consume a lot of YouTube and just like a lot of media in general. And I've just been thinking about how I love, oh my God, I can't with this angle. I can't. Okay, this is so much better now because I can relax on my couch. Oh, I consume a lot of YouTube. It is my favorite form of entertainment. And thankfully I have a smart TV, so I can just scroll through my subscriptions and watch whoever I want. And there's someone who I followed a few months ago named, I think her name's like Ariella Aiko or something. Anyway, I really love her, and I'm definitely one of those types of people too who like, I like people because it's similar to what I am or what I aspire to be, but I also really like people who are super different from me because I just find their personality interesting and like who they are as a person. And usually it's because they're super authentic and they just have a vibe. Like they just have their own vibe. They know who they are. They're cool. And I guess that's what I like in a person. And anyway, that's how she is. She's like day and night from me, but she makes things and is creative, which is the whole reason I started watching her videos and followed her. And specifically, she sews, which I have such a good amount of respect for somebody who can sew, because I used to sew and I wasn't terrible at it, but I just didn't have the patience for it. So I love that she makes clothing and different things like that. But she's also just kind of into crafting. And anyway, her whole aesthetic is like, the best way I can describe it is like Grand Theft Auto character. Like she's so Grand Theft Auto coded, but it's so uniquely her. And like you can tell it just is her personality and she doesn't care what anyone thinks. And I love that. And I don't know, it just got me thinking like, and I love her videos. I'm addicted to them. I've been binging them, trying to watch all of them. And anyway, so as I go back and forth between her and, you know, maybe some of the more conventionally popular YouTubers that I would say I have similar aesthetics to, or like vibes and goals, or just lifestyle and lifestyle aspiration, it's like such a different contrast. And the people I subscribe to, like I said, I like them because not only do they have a vibe, but they are very authentic. And they're not just going with the status quo. I feel like you can always tell when someone's going with the status quo and that's their vibe because of that, and versus like that's just who they are and it's them expressing their authenticity. Does the warm lighting look better, or do I need the cool lighting? I think it needs a little bit of cool to look. I was looking a little bit washed out. It just kind of had me spiraling in a good way, thinking about how, because sometimes when I'm flipping through my YouTube, it'll have like recommended videos and channels, and I'll click on it because it looks really aesthetic and cool, or like it has to do with something that I'm interested in, and then I click on it and it's just the same freaking copy paste, copyright free music, aesthetic, aloe wearing, like, do you know what I'm saying? And it's like you can tell this person has zero personality of their own, and they're just doing and making what's popular, and it gets views. And you know, that's great if it works for some people and they want to do that, but personally I feel like that would be exhausting. And I know that there's a little bit of nuance to that, like sometimes people are really just trying to find what works for them and it's not that serious. But I think as someone who consumes a lot of YouTube and TikTok, it's kind of getting exhausting. So I'm just really grateful to find YouTubers who are not afraid to just be themselves and then hope it sticks. And I think I'm one of those people too, although I feel like this last year I've experimented a lot with like what kind of content to make. I feel like I have always stayed true to just who I am. Finding YouTubers who are like that as well, it just keeps me really grounded and makes me want to continue to make content. All that to say, the fatigue has kind of led me to not only take a break from consuming so much like short form content. I looked at my Instagram. First of all, Instagram makes me feel so overstimulated. I don't know why, because TikTok doesn't make me feel that way. It's really hard to explain. Like, I hate Instagram. I looked at my screen time for Instagram and I have a daily average of like 40 minutes. Thank God. On Instagram. I don't really care about posting on there. I'm sure my TikTok daily screen time is astronomical, but that's a subject for another day. Okay, I just watched this footage back and I actually think the warm lighting looks better, so I turned up the warm. Can you feel it? Can you feel the warmth? Okay, so the whole reason for talking about this is because I'm just sitting here thinking, like, sometimes I get caught in the trap, and I'm sure other people do too, of feeling like if I only had a life that looked a certain way, maybe I could be successful on social media too. And then I was thinking about how literally 80% of influencers can't even afford their own lifestyle. Like, let me paint the picture for you. I'm so thirsty today. You know how you see so many influencers getting PR packages and it's like out of this world? Like they come home and they have like 20 to 30, 40, 50 boxes from like these high-end beauty brands and all of that. It's like they legitimately probably could not even go out and afford to buy that much stuff. And I know it's like a whole system of they post content, they get followers for looking and doing a certain thing. So then a brand wants to sponsor a video, then they get more reach, more likes, more followers, yada, yada. And then now that they have the numbers for it, all these brands want to send them free stuff, okay? So I'm not saying that like they're getting all this PR for nothing. Obviously they did work for it to a certain extent, but it's just such a weird thing to like get caught up in the mentality of like the way somebody's life looks, knowing that they themselves probably can't even afford to go out and buy all of those things to make their life look like that. They're actually getting it all for free and then rebranding it and selling it to you so that you want that life and you want to go out and buy it, but you can't afford it either. Do you guys follow me on this? Like, it's so silly to get caught up in these mindsets of like wanting what other people have. And to circle all the way back to that girl that I was talking about, I'll put her name on the screen because I don't know why I'm like blanking and I'm going to butcher it. But I think the reason that I also love her content, apart from her being so authentic, is A, she's not trying to sell us something all the time, or it's not so consumer driven. And listen, I love to shop. That is my number one form of therapy. I love to buy things and I love to curate my life. But I do also understand and feel that feeding into overconsumption is really toxic. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that way. I am actually at heart a true minimalist, but I like quality things to like curate my lifestyle, if that makes sense. And I want to be less of a consumer. I want to be more of a maker. And anyway, that's a topic for another video. But that is one reason why I really like her content, because I can tell that she lives within her means, probably below her means. Something that I also need to work on. And she's not afraid to show that. Like, I don't think she's trying to present herself in a way that most people feel that they need to on social media to be worthy of being consumed. You know, like for their content to be worthy of being consumed, I guess. And I guess a part of me kind of feels that way too. And I know I've talked about it on my channel here before, not wanting to like film in my kitchen because it's like an old kitchen and it's not quite the aesthetic I want, and like the cabinets slam and like stuff like that. And it's just like, it's so silly because don't I want to relate to the people who watch my videos instead of trying to like make them feel like, I don't know if I want people to watch my videos because they want to aspire to have a life looks like mine. I think the beautiful thing about sharing our lives with people online is that actually I want oh my god. I want people to watch my videos because they aspire to do the things that I do. I want to inspire creativity. That is like my main goal in life and on social media. And I think all of this to say is I've just really come to the realization that I've gotten stuck in this weird mindset of like my life has to look a certain way and look polished and look more curated than it actually is for me to like be worthy of consumption. And that's just not true, because otherwise I wouldn't be so drawn to certain creators who aren't necessarily like that. I guess that's all I'm trying to say. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I think I've gotten a lot better this year, and even, or not this year, it's literally the end of January. I've gotten a lot better in the last year at posting things, you know, even though maybe the background doesn't look great, like my stove is in it. Like I have embraced that a little bit more and kind of dipped my toe into that, because at the end of the day, not everything is as it really seems. And I'd rather be seen being fully authentic than to like only be seen once my life looks a certain way, because maybe it never will. Well, I'm not going to say that. I believe in manifestation. And I believe that the work I'm doing, like I believe if I truly want something in my heart, it's because I'm going to have it. And I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's like, as a matter of fact, on that topic, I was thinking about how like when I was a kid and I would be in my room, I grew up so poor. And the only luxury I had access to was like Vogue magazine, and I had a subscription from a very young age. And that is what drew me into all the luxury brands that like we know today, and just more of an artistic world and all of that. I would be in my room making collages, organizing my clothes, coming up with outfits, doing my hair, doing my makeup, being creative. And I remember I literally had one of those scratch maps. Like it was like a map of the world, and then you take a coin and you scratch off like everywhere you've been. And I remember sitting in my room every night looking up at the map with like the little string lights. I'm going to insert a picture here because I used to try to do YouTube when I was in high school from filming on my MacBook Air. And I'm going to put the picture here. I can't believe I was freaking talking and it wasn't filming. Rookie mistake. Okay, what I was saying is that I remember looking at that map and seeing it completely filled and just thinking, God, I can't wait to scratch all these places off one day. And the two places that I wanted to go to the most were London and Paris. And I don't know if this is Hollywood that had like instilled this into me, that those were like the dreamiest places to go. I don't know if it was just planted in my heart for a reason. Like I was supposed to go to those places. I mean, now as an adult, I do feel that way. I feel like both of those things can be true, because now that I've been, London is one of my favorite cities on earth. If I could travel, anytime I can travel, I would just always choose to go back to London. Like if I could never travel anywhere else again, but I could go to London, I would be happy. But I was just thinking like how I would lay there and look up at that at night and want to go to those two major cities. And now as an adult, I have, like, I made it happen. That is manifestation. And to some people that might sound so simple and easy, like, okay, you wanted it and then you went and did it. Big whoop. But like that is manifestation. Like however it happens, it still happened. You had a dream in your heart however long ago, and then it came true. So I don't know if that's like manifesting from a young age. I don't know. I think that obviously if those were not true desires, then I wouldn't have cared enough to make it happen in my life or still be wanting those things. But I've been to London now 3 times. I've been to the country of Wales, which was just as amazing. I've been to Paris with the love of my life, who I've been married to for 10 years now. And kind of on that subject too, I would lay in my bed and I would just daydream about who I was going to marry. I've come to realize in my adult life that my biggest goal, like my biggest dream in life, is to just have a beautiful family and really nurture that and just have a beautiful home life. That's like my ultimate goal overall, is to have a beautiful, comfortable home life and to build that with my husband. And I remember I would lay in bed. I had my scratch map. I had a Barbie CD player, and I would listen to the same Mike Bublé and Josh Groban albums all the time. And I remember I loved Mike Bublé so much because he's such an old soul, and I have always been that too. And his music is just so romantic. It's just covers of, you know, classic Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin songs, and they're all about love and true romantic love, not like the modern music you hear today. And I just remember like listening to those Mike Bublé albums and just like envisioning my future husband. It would be just that old, real, authentic movie love. And that's what I have. And that's what I have. And so to me, I'm like, damn, that's powerful. That is manifestation. And the cool thing about that is manifestation can take as long as it takes. You know, sometimes there's lessons we need to learn along the way before we can have the thing. Sometimes it's all about timing, and I do feel like the universe controls that. I don't think we control that. I think it's up to the universe. And that whole rant was just for me to say, like, if I can be like a 16-year-old laying in my twin-size bed in my grandma's Section 8 apartment, dreaming of the life I'm going to have as an adult and then getting it, then why can I not do the same thing now and dream of the life that I want as an older adult and one day get it? I fully believe I will. And I can't wait to come back on here and maybe make a video where I have the house that I want. I have my dream walk-in closet where I could spend hours laying on the floor, sitting in a chair, or doing whatever. Where I have my big marble bathroom where I sit and do my makeup for an hour, do my hair, give my baby a bath. Like, you know, like, life is crazy. Life is wild. I guess just remember that you can be aspirational, but it's more important to be authentic. I really am going to work to be more that way with my content going forward. And I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I have no makeup on. I'm sitting in my husband's baggy, dirty sweater on my couch. On my couch with a wall behind it that's not painted a color I would choose. Hair's a mess. Whatever. I feel like this was just like a big therapy session. That's it for today. My kitty's here. Edgar, come here. Yes. Yes, we got him. We got him. You guys, my cat is not he's not social. And he is daddy's boy. But every now and again, when I'm just relaxing, he'll come vibe. But I have to be sure not to beg. I mean, come on, that's a lot. Men are repelled. Let this be a reminder. Do you hear him purring? Men are repelled by desperation. So I can't beg him to sit with me. I have to just say up like one time and then pat and then look. Say hi. Hi. On the subject of content and consumption, the way things look, I've been going back and forth for a long time about getting the DJI camera that everyone has, and it makes your content just look, I think the look of it is so good. It's so crisp. It's a tiny like handheld thing. I love the look of it, don't get me wrong, especially for a sit down video like now, it would be perfect. But upon further thought analysis, I also really love the look of the Insta 360 or something. It's like this big, it's a square, and then it has a little camera inside of it that you can take out. But it's kind of grainy, like it does shoot 4K, but something about it, it's like the exposure or the contrast is kind of higher. And it's got that gritty Casey Neistat feel. And I think when it comes to vlogging, the creative side of me, I want it to look like that. It almost looks like a filter, and I don't know, it almost looks like a camcorder, but I don't like camcorders, so like a full-blown camcorder. It's not quite that grainy and low quality, if that makes sense. It's waterproof. I don't know, I just think we could make some really cool videos with it, and I like the look of that. So I'm thinking that that's the direction I'm going to go. Instead of just getting what everyone else has because it's what's popular and nice, I'm going to get with what I like. I'm going to get the thing that's going to make me feel more creative. And it's just different. Like, I like how different it is. I don't know. I love talking about this. I feel like I'm just getting back to that 16-year-old me in my bedroom of my grandma's apartment. You know how 2016 was trending? Well, I was 22 in 2016, and looking back at those photos with my husband, I was like, wow, I was so much more like fun and experimental and whimsical back then. And it's kind of been a joke ever since that I need to get my whimsy back. Although, like, I feel like part of that is true. On the other hand, like, I know that I've matured and I want to accept who I am now while still honoring, like, past versions of myself and tapping into them. But it feels really good to like, come to this realization of, I want to get back to me. Like, I'm finally ready to just step fully back into myself, be experimental, like the things just because I like them, not care how it's perceived. Because that's how I was as a teenager. I know it's usually the opposite. Like, usually people just come more into themselves as they get older, but I feel like I was born that way, and I've slowly kind of become so, like, copy-paste, and I don't like that. I gotta get my whimsy back, Edgar. We gotta get our whimsy back. Now he's leaving. Thanks for chatting with me. I'll see you guys later. Picture for you. I'm so thirsty today. I don't know why. Thirsty ASMR. Icelandic sparkling.